Hey everybody, welcome to Season 2, Episode 2 of the PrincipalPLN podcast, hosted by myself, Spike Cook, Teresa Stagger, and Jessica Johnson. Today is August 22nd. We are recording live right now, bright and early, because we've been reading a book to inspire us this summer, and we're actually going to be having an author on in a couple episodes. But it's basically called The Miracle Morning. So one of the things that we decided to do was try podcasts early. So how are you doing, Teresa?
It's early.
It's early.
It wouldn't be as early as it would be for Jess, so that's good. It's only 8.
That's true.
Yeah, it's 8:30 for us, so it'd be 7:30 for her, although I feel like she's been up for like 3 hours already. So
I know.
a couple boxes and she's ready to go. Jess can't join us today. She has been working like a mad woman with high school principal interviews in her district. So she's been at school until 9 o'clock at night. She's dealing with some cold thing too, so she's struggling today. But we're so glad that she bumped up or beefed up the Google Doc. So
She sent us so much good stuff. So I guess before we get into our topic today, which is chock full of awesome information on your most important meeting of the year, which is your first one. Teresa and I just wanted to talk a little bit about our new venture here. We have a new website, and new name and new Twitter handle, the PrincipalPLN. So what we were looking to do was to create an avenue for leaders and aspiring leaders to come together in the style of the PLN. And then we're also just looking for a new format, right, Teresa?
yeah. The stresses of the principal job can be pretty tough sometimes, and I think the format that we had before we were all starting to struggle with, not because it wasn't great, but because we were getting overwhelmed. And so this seemed to be a better choice for us. But we love TeacherCast and everything they've done for us. And, we continue to work with Jeff on some side projects and things like that. So, we don't want anyone to think that there is any bad blood or any reason other than the fact that the format just really was not working for us and that we needed something that suited us a little bit better. So.
Yeah, and also like with Jeff with the Sunday nights, like having our show on and the things that he was doing to produce our show was just extending his nights as well. So it actually kind of worked out. And the cool thing is that we learned so much from him, and he kind of taught us the the podcasting ways, and now we can do it on our own, and he's very proud about that. So we'll probably have to have him on one day, just to kind of see the different things, so he could see the kind of stuff that we're doing. But I think that's important too, because like I know, like as principals and leaders and aspiring leaders, like we're always looking to challenge ourselves, and honestly, and this because we talked about it a lot, it's a lot easier to come on here and just to kind of talk, and then have somebody else do all the post-production stuff, and have somebody do all that, and a lot of times that I don't know if you see this too, Teresa, that we almost do that too as principals. Like the nitty-gritty stuff really in our building gets done by other people.
Yeah, it's true.
So what we wanted to do was to say, okay, so with the technology and with the apps and with the different formats that we can use, why don't we just start doing this ourselves? And you know what this has done? This has helped me because I think this year I'm going to try to do some podcasting at my school.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm starting out by doing we're having an opening day extravaganza that we do every year. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up outside in the hallway with the same format that we have here, and I'm going to be interviewing about 8 to 10 teachers from the district, all talking about like different things that are going on this
Oh,
year. And
fun.
it's funny because I'm like, wait, it's actually the same setup as I'm doing here. I could just do it through Google. They could be watching it in the auditorium as they're waiting, because it's like it'll be between 8 to 8:30. The whole thing starts at 8:30, but people start milling in. So I'm like, I can just do this all right here. So I feel like I've become empowered too by learning from Jeff and learning from Teacher Cass about all the different things that we can do. And now, like I said, we could do it all on our own.
That is really cool. That's a very, very neat idea. I did a lot of video podcasting last year with my school. The kids do one every morning for announcements or prayer, and then we post it on site. And then I do a couple video podcasts like throughout the month.
Oh yeah.
Send them out for the parents because I find that they can't. They they do better, obviously face to face than just sending paper notes home all the time. And they really enjoyed it. And I got some feedback from some principals. Like I mentioned, we're not in a district. We're in the archdiocese where there's
Right.
schools, but we're not in a district. But I got some feedback from some neighboring Catholic schools that they heard parents talking about it and they really liked it. So that was kind of cool. But it's super easy, especially now knowing all the things that we know. So that'll be very cool. I can't wait to see it. So it'll be a Google Hangout. Will you be able to share that with us?
I will. I will share it. I don't know if people can jump on and do it live. We're gonna run it with a hashtag, and
Cool.
like I said, I'll just be interviewing different teachers and administrators, and then just kind of putting some good vibes out there, the different things that are going on in the district throughout the year. So
That is really fun.
and of course, it's not like all technology based. Like I
Right.
already have a few people scheduled. One is like an advanced placement teacher who they've been doing a lot of updates to the AP classes at the high school. There's another person from the high school who's gonna be talking about like I think they have some sort of anniversary coming up, and then so it'll be all like a different range
Very
of yeah. So I'm really excited, and hopefully it's just another thing for our district to start to see that like you said, how easy this stuff is, and I certainly don't even do enough at my school. I mean, we've done a couple podcasts there, but I'd like to get back into more of like the weekly video updates and stuff. I used to do that when I first got into social media, and I fashioned it like after like what Kurt and Jessica do,
right.
in Wisconsin, and then it just got to be a lot of work,
Yeah.
like anything. And I'm like, oh, I found it a lot easier to go around, take pictures, and do a picture update. But I like the suggestions that you gave, and the things that you're doing with your kids, because I'd rather empower them and
Yeah.
have and just be part of it, so.
Yeah, and
So
my
it's
kids
cool.
run the whole thing. When they go in
Yeah.
for announcements in the morning, we have an older student that goes in. So because we're K through 8, pre-K through 8, but kindergarten or pre-K never does announcements in the morning. It's just never a good idea. Um, so the kindergartners are the youngest that ever go in. So we'll start with just 8th grade, and then next week we start. So the following week it'll be one 8th grader we have like 3 8th graders that do prayer throughout the year that they just separate out, and then they'll bring in the 7th graders, and then the following week it's that 8th grader with the 6th graders, and they bring just small groups every day. And so I send
Hmm.
them in my office, and I set my computer up, and they do
Right.
the entire thing. I have them
That's awesome.
start it, they finish it, they edit it, and they upload it to Vimeo, and it's done.
Really?
I mean,
Good for you.
so I mean, at that
So
point, it's like if they can set up, they know how, because we've got the iPads and they use iMovie and technology, and they've been using it in their
okay.
classrooms, so they know how to just grab a beginning, grab an end. They can. I tell them it has to say morning prayer on it and the date, but you can put whatever you want on it, or you can just leave the ones that are already there and just drag the video in. And then there's a button that says upload to Vimeo, and they just hit it, and it sends it out, and it's up there. And then all I have to do is take it and embed it. I embed it on the website
Right.
on the front page so people can see it, but that's all I have to do. So it's super easy. And once you show,
Super
especially
easy.
the older kids, they're all over it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
I don't think I got when you were talking. I don't think I realized that you were talking about your district with the teachers. I was thinking you were doing that on the first day of school with the kids. That's really cool with the teachers because you're doing
No,
that.
but then you just kind of gave me an idea for first day with the kids. Well, that's funny. Yeah, it is with the district. So we have about, I don't know, 1,200 people, like staff and teachers and everything like that. So we're in a big district, and so they all meet together at the middle school. Has this giant performing arts center.
Oh, cool.
So each year they kind of do something different, and I was thinking, trying to suggest some different ideas, and this one really worked. So. That kind of makes me think, though, because a few years ago we did a sort of a live iMovie trailer while kids were coming in, and then we
Right.
showed them that. I think I told you about that.
Yeah.
So now I'm thinking, I don't know, first day is going to be a little bit crazy, but that's a great idea, though. Maybe if I don't do it, maybe somebody else do it. They can go around and they can just do interviews, and then we can upload it.
Oh, yeah. You could interview the kids too. Like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
especially
yeah.
about what they did last year that they really loved, that the kids might like this year, that their incoming grades might like.
I like that. And then some of the parents too.
Yeah.
That's a great idea.
Why they're so excited to be back to your school.
That's a great idea.
That'd be fun. Maybe I'll do that. Look at that.
Let's
This
do
is
it.
why we do this. This is why we have a
This is
PLN.
how we do. This is why we do it.
We
Yeah.
do it. We need to back in the night.
So 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 I guess, like, what we're talking about today is the most important meeting of the year, as a principal, is the first meeting. And I think symbolically what we're trying to do with this too, wouldn't you agree, Teresa, is that, like, so the first, the most important day of the year, the most important lesson of the year is your first lesson.
Right.
So for us it's we have to, try to model the different things that we want to see.
Yeah. And it's tough. It's, whether or not you've got all returning staff. I think I was more nervous for this staff meeting this year than I was last year for my first staff meeting. And I'm not
Really?
really sure why, but I feel like we all had expectations coming into this year. Last year, nobody really knew what was happening because I
Okay.
was new and half the staff was new. But this year, we only have a few new teachers. So we all kind of have this expectation of how the year is going to go. And I feel like that really stumped me this year. It threw me off my balance, I guess. I don't know. It's not bad, but I got some really great ideas from the Principal PLN Voxer group. They were talking about Doug. I can't remember Doug's last name, but Doug, I think Tim maybe Doug
Yeah.
Tim from um,
Delaware.
Delaware. Thank you. I'm like he's somewhere up by you. Somewhere from Delaware was talking about playing music when the staff came in.
Okay.
Kind of fun. So we were all talking about songs to play, and the first day I was all excited. I had a playlist set up, and I walked in and I looked at my secretary and I was like, "I'm gonna play some music," while the staff's walking in, getting ready for the staff meeting. And she looked at me and she was pale, and and I said, "What's wrong?" And she's like, "I have the worst migraine. I will
Oh.
not do that to you." She's like, "No, it's okay. I'll just lock myself in the bathroom." I'm like, "No, no, 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 no. We're not doing
Oh.
that today." So we did it yesterday, and I played Katy Perry's "Roar"
Uh-huh.
and then Sweet Caroline.
Oh, look
So
at
that
that.
pumps people up. And the teachers they were like, walking into the office just kind of giving me this look. And they're like, but then the preschool teacher came in and I said, "Can you hear the music in your room?" She goes, "Yeah." She's like, "I was working and trying to get work done before the staff meeting." She's like, "And then I'm singing and then I'm not doing any work." I have to go back to singing. And so they liked it and it kind of set a good mood.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
think I used to do that a lot when I worked in the public schools. I was the music teacher, so I always did, crazy stuff. They always let me do weird craziness, and I think they kind of embraced the crazy when I was there, so that was kind of nice. But they on the day of the Michigan State game, because we're really split here but it's even in elementary schools there is a rivalry. I mean, it is you have a loyalty to one or the other. And so I used to teach to the third grade. Well, it was the fourth graders at the time because they were learning about the state and the history, we would learn the fight songs, and then they would sing them, on Fridays before they left, and
Uh-huh.
they had a blast. They loved it. And then we would sing the high school fight song too, because we only had one high school, and they all went there. So then we started doing it to the whole school, and the kids loved it. So on the Friday before the Michigan State game, we would do Spirit Day, and I would play the fight songs on a loop for like a half an hour when the kids came in the morning, like
Hmm.
starting, as the older kids are coming in, and then as they're entering the hallways, and I mean, those kids were like lit up. It was
Wow.
ridiculous. But I mean, the power of music in the morning, especially something that is upbeat or that they know, is fantastic.
Yeah, that's a great idea. I think, the couple times that we've done it, like, over the speakers, like every year we have this Olympic day where all six elementary schools compete against each other. So we'll always play like "We Are the Champions" or
Right.
"We Are Family," over, the loudspeaker. And I think, when we have our first day, usually they come in, they all go to the gym, and we just have just a quick welcome back meeting and stuff like that. Um, so we, have music playing and stuff in there. And like you said, the power of music is really cool. There's so much emotion that it evokes, and I think, when the staff come in, there's no reason why you couldn't do something like that. Like for us this year, like our first sort of welcome back is over at the middle school with the rest of the district, and then we come back after lunch to our building. So then I'll have actually it will be a relatively brief staff meeting, just because in looking at the schedule, and I know teachers, so I'm starting my fourth year here, and I'm like, they really want to get into the rooms.
Yeah.
They really want to, like, get things set up. Even though, I mean, they have been, believe me, they've
Right.
been coming in, and almost everybody has been in some form or fashion to get things set up. And I,
But
I
there's
just think
something
that
about
that's
that panic the week before school starts. It's like no matter how much time you have in your room and how much time you've spent in your room, you never have enough time the week before school starts.
Yeah, you never do. So I really want to go light on that first day. That's a Tuesday, but it's the afternoon. And then we actually I've talked to you about this a couple of times. We have a new arrival and dismissal
Right.
procedures that we're doing. So we actually need to do a dry run through, and I need to tape it because it's going to be an instructional thing for our parents.
Yeah.
So basically, my first meeting is not going to be very long. We're going to get into our cars, we're going to plan this thing out, and then we're going to go through the arrival and dismissal. I need to get a bus there, and we're just going to tape it as a instructional video, and then we'll edit it later on that day and then get it up on our blog and stuff, and have it ready for the parents, when they come in on the first day. And then let the teachers get into their classrooms. That next day in the morning is like kind of like where we'll have like our big, like, sort of kickoff, and implement some of the things that we'll talk about today.
Yeah.
Yeah. So but I think, everyone does it a little bit differently, and I think knowing your staff, is the most important thing. So I guess the first thing that I always look to do, and sometimes I don't even get much further than this, is like, what are you going to do to welcome them back,
Right.
and to break that ice? So I know last year I did it in the beginning of the year, and then I also did it at the end of the year. Basically, just like, what did you do this summer?
Yeah.
Like, and everyone went around and shared, and I have a staff of about 40, people. So it took some time.
Well, yeah.
It took some time to get I'm sure there's other things that you could do, as far as like games and stuff like that. But what do you have planned?
Well, ours is already done because we
I mean,
Yeah,
yeah.
no, that's okay because we start on Monday. So my first staff meeting all of my staff meetings have already happened. I gave the teachers today. It's Friday, so we gave the teachers today off from professional development, but they'll be in the rooms and I'll be at work, in an hour or so. Well, after I get ready, of course, but we'll all be there, but they don't have anything that they have to report to do today. But for the first day, we did go around and, what did you do? Because now that we're all returning, it's more of a tell us how you spent your summer. What did you do that was fun? Because now we know each other a lot better. Last year it was getting to know everybody. So,
Hmm.
and then getting to know the new teachers, and that was a good time. Do you have any special talents, anything hidden? We found out that like three-quarters of our staff plays a musical instrument of some,
Wow.
like four of them are in a band. I mean, it's crazy. That might have something to do with my hiring. I don't know, but maybe it's like a hidden, like in the back. I'm hiring people who have musical talent, but so we did that. But I did something fun last year. I didn't do it this year because we just did it last year and everybody's returning, but. Um, we did this at intern my intern principal meetings. They gave us some, like, we did an icebreaker every day, and one of them was, you take a ball of string, everybody stands in a circle, and you hold on one end of the string and you throw. This is not the one I did, but I just remember that we did this. And you throw the ball of string to somebody across the circle, and when they get the ball of string, they have to say something about themselves that maybe nobody else would know, and then they hold on to a piece of the string, and you throw it to somebody else. And what ends up happening toward the end is that there's this huge web, and after everybody's gone through and explained or mentioned something about themselves, a talent that they have or something that they contribute, there's this huge web of string in the middle, and then we're all stronger together than we are separately because we all have these talents. You need to make sure that you're working with each other and asking for help, and et cetera, et cetera. And so that was a really cool activity, and it had a really great, a meaning at the end, which is always really
Hmm.
nice. One that I did with my staff last year is I bought these little things of Play-Doh, those itty bitty little tiny ones.
Hmm.
I gave everybody Play-Doh and a Post-it note, and they had to create something with the Play-Doh that described them.
Okay.
So, like when I did it, I used a music note because, that's most of my life outside of being a principal is music for me. So a lot of people did, some people did sun because they love the summer. I think my
Hmm.
preschool teacher had done little tiny people for her grandchildren, things like that. And then the Post-it note is for after everybody's gone through and shared, like shown what they did and shared about it, you could take the Post-it note and ask somebody a question about like to get more information about something that they've done in that has to do with the Play-Doh. So, with this sun, where was your favorite vacation spot that you went?
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Write it on the Post-it note. You put the Post-it note by the Play-Doh. Everybody walks around and puts it somewhere, and you try to tell people, you go to a desk and then write it down so that if you get somewhere and you see that there are 15 Post-it notes, you put it somewhere else so that everyone's got one to
Yeah.
answer. But it's kind of like a dig deeper activity, and it gives you that, the moving and the creativity, and it's just
Yeah, I,
it.
I like that. Because I might actually steal that idea because one of the things that I want to do a little bit differently with the staff this year is to, focus on Genius Hour and start with them, allowing them time to create things. So that could be a really cool, neat, quick, rather quick
Yeah, it is.
activity to get, but to, like you said, to get them like doing something,
Yeah.
like um, creating something. That's what I meant, like creating something, So that's really cool. I like that. Because there's a lot of the things like I've done like in different years, and like you said, like you use one year and then you can't use it, the next year. But like, yeah, there's a couple different things where you work on. Like you can work on sequencing and learning people's names. We had this one where we'd get everybody in a circle and you have a ball, and what you have to do is try to get the ball around the circle without giving it to the person next to you, and there's a whole like progression you have to say, like if like before you throw it so people can get the idea. It's like you have to call somebody's name and then they have to say thank you and then say their name back. So like if I threw it if you threw it to me, I'd say thank you, Teresa, and then throw it to Jessica. So
Okay.
anyway, it's a cool activity they can do with the kids, so I want to model it with them. So
Yeah.
then what you do is once you get the ball through, then you start adding more balls and more balls and more balls. The theory is it doesn't matter how many balls are going if everybody is just paying attention to the person who gives you that ball. You could have 60 balls going. You know what I mean? Like that doesn't matter because it's understanding, the flow of it. But invariably, like people drop it, people throw it to the wrong person because like as the pressure starts getting more and you start throwing different balls in, and I would throw like a beanbag in, a football, a golf ball, like, and so then like symbolically you take a look at that. Well, okay, so during the year, kind of like what you were saying about the web, like if we are all working together, then we're working on our communication, we're working on how things run, and yet when things are thrown at you a little bit differently, you have to adapt. So that's a really cool one.
I like that.
And another one to get, like, if you want to get people to know each other's names, and I think this is a good one also for kids, although a lot of times kids, especially in middle school, hate it. Like, you have everybody hold their hands and start, like, swinging your hands up and back like a rhythm.
Yeah.
And everyone goes around, and it's like just a call and response thing.
Right.
So like if I say spike, then everybody says spike. But if I say it really low, like I whisper it, then they have to whisper it.
Good idea.
And then once you go around and everybody knows each other's name, then you can have them say like their nicknames or something funny about themselves or whatever. So I like those things. I know not a lot of people do. They just kind of get through them, because it's like, but they really do break the ice, and sometimes you really need that kind of stuff to either after maybe a tough year or a lot of new people coming in, it is good to do some sort of icebreaker.
It really is, and I'm one of those. I despise icebreakers with every,
Right.
with every fiber of my being.
Right.
Them, and it's totally a personal thing. I am just not, like those ones that you have to walk around and find people who do something.
Yeah.
That's like it's like my hell.
Right.
Walking up to somebody you don't know and asking them a question it's not who I am. A lot of people don't know this, but I'm a huge introvert. The only reason that this podcast works is because I know you and Jess so well.
Right.
I hate it. I hate it. So I try to find things that I personally am not afraid of.
Right.
Sitting, like, for example, and this is something that sometimes it's hard to like in the I love the Principal PLN Voxer group that we have because I feel like we have a good mix of introverts and extroverts, and I think it's important to know what the other side is like because I don't know what an extrovert is like. I don't know what they feel like.
Yeah.
To me, everything is frightening. But I think it's important for people who don't have that, for people who are okay doing icebreakers or love to walk up to somebody new and start a conversation. I think it's really important to know that there are people who are scared to death.
Yeah.
When it comes around to them, and the kids would say it too.
Yeah, there's a whole range. Like I'm definitely more extroverted than introverted, and I think when I do those activities, and I'm a connector. Like if you read like Malcolm Gladwell's, like
I've done those.
You're probably like a maven, like you like a lot of information.
I'm a learner.
You're
Yeah.
And it's like I like those, but I know that people hate them.
Yeah.
So I'm very cognizant of that.
Like sitting around in a circle and waiting for it to be your turn can be like the most terrifying thing on earth.
Yeah.
If you're not one of the first people, it's like the only thing I am concentrating on is making sure I don't forget what I'm going to say. I don't hear anything that comes before it comes to me. So like for me, an icebreaker is almost silly because it doesn't help me, but for some people it does. And so, there are things, it's kind of one of those, it's a balance thing. And as a leader, you have to know your staff to understand what they might, what they need, what will help them.
Yeah, I completely agree, and there's so many of them out there that you can sort of pick and choose, and but I think I think the problem comes into when you don't do that. What message really are you sending? Like
right.
they're hard to do. not everybody's going to like them, and some people could be like, oh, like kind of critique it. But here's my thing: like when you don't do it, what message are you sending? Like because I think when you definitely look at all the different options, and there's so many out there, and you have to come out of your comfort zone to do it, and I think as the leader you should be the one that's facilitating it, and then you always just tie it back into, hey, this is something you can do in your class, this is something that you can do, and the way that you kind of have to come to terms with it is like eventually it's like, okay, well, if you feel like you could do this better,
Right.
then you know
You can plan
by all
tomorrow.
means, you could plan tomorrow's, So I
Yeah.
think that's a good idea. So
It goes along the same path though with what we're asking our students to do, because there are things in the classroom that not everybody's going to enjoy, that not everybody's going to like, but they need to do presentations, they have to learn how to talk in front of people, there are things that they have to do that those kids are going to hate. So what example are we setting if we won't do it, but we're asking the students to do it?
I agree, and I think that's the one thing that is so prevalent in social media and in blogging and Twitter and the people in our PLN. It's like, and that's why ed camps are so extremely important, but then also breaking the convention, because it's like, hey, are you a learner? You say you're the lead learner, so what are you going to do to facilitate that? So I think if we were to kind of bring this all together, it's the first step in the first meeting is the icebreaker, and we're going to stick to that, even though if you feel like it may not be something that you want to do, and you don't always have to do it at the first meeting. I think it is extremely important to do it, but I think they also can be done throughout the year. There's no reason why you can't do that. So when we look at that, and then in planning for our next show, we are going to be talking about more the nuts and bolts of that actual first meeting. So Teresa, what do you think? What do you think? You ready to do another icebreaker?
Yeah, they're necessary, and even like you said, if there's a stress in the school or everybody's getting really tense, sometimes it's important to do in the middle of the year or at a random staff meeting. Sometimes you just have to do it, and I am a number one against icebreakers, but for myself, I hate them,
Right.
but they are so important.
Very cool. So we want to thank you for listening today. Our topic, of course, we're talking about the first meeting, and this episode was focused on the icebreaker. If you look into the show notes, we'll give you a couple of different ideas that you can use to break that first ice. And if you're listening to this and you've already had your first couple of meetings or your school is underway, like Teresa said, there's no reason why you can't do it in November, December, even April, to continue to break that ice. Once again, you can follow us, the Principal PLN, on Twitter at PrincipalPLN. You can check out our website, PrincipalPLN.com. We encourage you to follow the hashtag PrincipalPLN to ever give us any questions or show ideas that you may have.
So thanks for joining us again, and we'll see you next time.